You and your community. Your hosts are Nathaniel and Patricia Gadsden.
Welcome again to Life Esteem. Always great to have you as a viewer. Today we're going to talk to a dynamic young lady who's doing some great things. Her name is Ashley Company, and she has a company called Jelani Girls Incorporated. Welcome to the show.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You know, this is a fascinating story, Jelani Girls, what you're trying to do with them, but also just your life in general, the things you're doing. So tell us about Jelani Girls.
Oh, okay. Well, Jelani Girls is a nonprofit for teenage girls. It's a cultural enrichment program where we take them to different countries each year to get fully immersed in culture, learn about heritage, traditions and customs. And then we also have a second set of beneficiaries, which are the youth in those developing countries that we visit. We do a service project, our International Youth Service Project. So we have two groups of kids that we're trying to help, and that's pretty much the bulk of Jelani Girls.
But you're founder and CEO of Jelani Girls.
I am. I started it about a year and 1 month ago exactly.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic. Great.
And this was a result of your Jelani Girls, because talk about your background and who you are and what you've been doing.
Okay, well, I'm a graduate of Hampton University.
Are you?
I am,
Okay.
and in Virginia, and a lot of our board members are also alumni. But we came together and thought that it was a good idea to produce good young leaders and well-rounded citizens through our cultural enrichment program. And I kind of led the way with that because I have a deep passion for travel. I'm third generation military. I'm also in the Army Reserve. I'm a captain. And so just all my life I've been traveling different countries through my parents and my grandparents' travel. And the things that I've learned and how I've grown professionally, academically, and personally through travel and those international connections, I wanted to create an organization that could do that for other girls. But before I set out to do that, the framework, I took a personal journey after leaving my corporate job for 1 year, and I traveled 18 different countries by myself in what's called backpacking. And it was a really good experience. I volunteered in each country. I have a huge passion for service. And so there I was able to create relationships and establish connections and really build the framework for what I want our girls to experience.
I would say this would be awesome for that reason, in those 18 countries. And so now you have those relationships and they're able to get back and take young ladies over as well.
Absolutely.
Tell me some of the countries.
Okay, well, altogether I've been to about 30 countries.
Wow.
From Asia, Korea, Japan, in Europe, Germany, France, Czech, England. In Africa, I've been to Egypt, Ghana, and my favorite, Kenya. In a lot of countries in the Caribbean and South America, Central America, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, which I love, Trinidad, one of my favorites. A lot of places, Dominican Republic, where I studied Spanish.
Are you fluent in Spanish? Or?
I was during that year where I mainly was doing survival, and there would be times where I would go months where I was only speaking Spanish, but they say if you don't use it, you lose it. So I'm okay.
You're okay.
Conversational.
But here you are, a young lady, traveling by yourself.
Yes.
Okay. How dangerous was that?
I actually did run into some issues. I am a soldier, so I know how to be situationally aware of my surroundings, and I think the good outweighed the bad. I did run into a couple of issues when I was in Argentina, so that was one of, I guess, not my favorite place for that reason. But no real issues. There's a culture of backpackers and travelers. You'll find plenty of women, mainly men, but you'll find plenty of other women, solo travelers. Canada, Australia had a huge presence of solo travelers that you meet, and then you start traveling with them. And then kind of like a backpacker circuit from hostel to hostel and location to location. So you're never really alone unless you want to be.
Okay. And then you were aware of that through your military background, or to your parents and grandparents?
As far as the backpacking culture? Or, no, I actually found that out on my own.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Some of the first countries, one of the first ones was Turkey that I went to because my grandparents were stationed there in the Air Force. So at 7 years old, I was already on a plane, and that's what kind of started this passion that I have for travel. So a lot of the countries that initially I went to with family and things like that. But when I started to travel on my own, I'd done a lot of research. I taught myself Spanish prior to leaving to these countries, using different free websites and just different resources that could help me. And I felt prepared enough to just go try it out. And so I went to Dominican Republic first for a week, and then once I got that under my belt, I started planning on, okay, let me do a couple of more countries. And once I got there, I was, with research and meeting other experienced travelers, they were, you know, showing me the ways and the resources to use to make it a lot easier and fluid, and it's definitely possible. And I would love to go with friends. I tried to encourage friends to come with me, but I wasn't as successful. So I actually blog about trying to get more people to travel and what that really means, and that the experience of travel is very much, it's more valuable than maybe say an iPhone or something that you won't care about in a month's time. You'll be ready for the new thing, but those memories will last forever.
Absolutely.
And let me ask you this. You said you left corporate America, so where did you leave? What kind of job did you have?
So I was a district manager for Frito-Lay and PepsiCo
okay.
in Raleigh, North Carolina. It was it started out as a college hire program, and then I transitioned into the district manager role. And so they hired me out of Hampton University to the Carolinas region. So I was working in Raleigh, North Carolina.
So you're making good money.
I was.
You contacted your parents and said, guess what I'm going to do?
I did. I did.
And how did your parents respond at first?
My parents and my grandparents, they were excited.
Okay.
They wanted to know that I had a plan, but they know that I'm a planner, and I saved to make sure that things were done not haphazardly. And so they were very supportive. They were proud of me. They just want to make sure I had all my ducks in a row, and I did. And they've supported me every way along the way.
Okay.
Did you not like the job, or you just knew that you had this burning passion to do something else?
Absolutely. I love Frito-Lay. They're a great team, a great group of folks down there. I miss them, actually. But there's a time and place for everything, and I think that season had passed. I took that job because it was a good leadership role. I wanted to learn more about corporate America and managing a team, and I knew that would help me be more competitive for my my hope to attend MBA program in the future. But I also have this passion for Jelani Girls. Even when I didn't know that the name would be Jelani Girls, I always knew I wanted to serve the youth and to start off with girls. And the best way for me to do that, I felt, was kind of a unique void that I saw. This travel component, the way that we do it, we customize the package from start to finish. I didn't, from them even getting their travel documents such as a passport, we walk them through everything, that they're comfortable, the parents are comfortable, and I didn't see that. So with that void being there and that calling I had on my heart, I just felt it was time to leave Frito-Lay.
Jelani Girl, what does that mean? Where does that come from, the name Jelani?
Jelani is a Swahili word. It means greatness or mighty. And so our motto is to help girls reimagine what it means to be great.
I love that.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and what age range? What age bracket?
14 to 18. However, we do have one 19-year-old in the program.
Okay.
Okay, so currently how many girls do you have?
Currently, this month, actually, in a few weeks, we're traveling to Trinidad. We're taking 5 girls.
5 girls.
About 6 months ago, we took 3 girls to Ghana.
All right.
In West Africa, and so and we're anticipating having 8 girls in the program for next summer.
Next summer.
Fantastic.
So what is your plans for the future for your Jelani Girls? What other things do you have in mind? Just keep traveling to different places and experiencing and exposing them?
Yeah, one thing that I've learned through my mentors and working in the nonprofit industry and just in other groups that I volunteer with is you want to really stick to the mission and not try to branch out too much. And so we want to do a couple of things really well as opposed to too many things at a lower level. And so our primary focus is those girls and giving them a cultural immersion experience that will leave them more motivated in the classroom and all different aspects of their lives. So we just focus on that cultural enrichment experience, going to a different country, and then the humanitarianism part, the philanthropic effort, where they can see what it means from start to finish to give back to someone who's less fortunate than them. So that International Youth Service Project is that second component, and that is what Jelani Girls is. So each year as we grow, it might be a different country, it might be more girls, but it'll still be those same two components.
Where were you 40 years ago? I would have loved to have been a part of that.
Yeah,
But you still can. We're new into Harrisburg. We have girls coming from Alabama and potentially Georgia next year, but we are looking for board members. So there might be something you or your colleagues that you might know of might have an interest in and being a part of in Harrisburg.
That's wonderful.
All right, that's really interesting, though.
Now, funding-wise, when you talk about nonprofits, you know, and I work for the United Way of the Capital Region, and we're always looking for fantastic programs to support, and we do support fantastic programs in this area. Jelani Girls, I mean, it sounds like something that we should be a part of.
I'm so looking forward to it.
Oh,
we just had a lot going on, but we are trying to make those contacts. Absolutely. As far as funding, you're wondering how we're doing it?
Yes, sure. Yeah, how do
so we're really new. We're just 1 year old, and 6 months ago, we've already taken 3 girls to Ghana, and the way I was able to do that, obviously building the relationship and the rapport with the parents that quickly, I had to choose 3 girls that I knew their parents. And so because of that, we used their churches and kind of their neighborhood fundraising, as well as a huge support from my alma mater, alumni network, and then the bulk of it from my family and close friends and myself. For this round, 6 months later, another 6 months fundraising campaign, we focused on sponsorship from organizations and businesses. So the World Affairs Council of Harrisburg has been very supportive. Harrisburg Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta, the Links Chapter, those have been Walmart, those have been huge organizations that have supported us. And you all have even supported us. So you guys have been great. The Harrisburg community has been very helpful. We have a lot of support from the girls that are coming from Alabama that'll travel with us. There's Antioch Baptist Church, who's had a huge role in making sure that those girls are able to travel with us. So sponsorships has been the huge way for this 6 month campaign. As we approach next year, we're looking for funding from grants and things like that. That's what our focus will be.
That's wonderful.
Well, I know Joyce Davis must be excited about your.
She is. It was a perfect match.
It has to have been.
The African American Chamber of Commerce introduced us.
Did they?
The president introduced us, and from there, that relationship has been growing.
All right.
It's wonderful. And our office is actually, we share the office with them.
Wonderful.
In Strawberry Square, so they have been very supportive.
That's great. That's great. We happen to serve on the board of the World Affairs Council with Joyce Davis. And we know how powerful she is, you know, and
She's
the great work she does.
I'm sure she has contacts. She can put you in front of a number of countries as well.
Right, we're already having those discussions to figure out exactly where we're going next year. That decision will be made at the end of August.
At the end of August, okay. That's
so the young ladies that you select, how do you go about the selection process? Because I have some granddaughters who aren't old enough yet, but I hope that you'll move that age down sometime and have like a kind of
to really get you ready.
You know.
In our strategic planning, we're already looking forward to expanding in the future for a parent component, because we know that you can't just do the work when they come and see you. It has to, revolve 24 hours a day. We're looking at a younger component to just really just let them know and understand about being that more well-rounded person. So we do look to add those different components later on, as well as boys potentially. Those are just some really huge goals. But right now, the way we choose this specific age group, like I said, the first one, I just knew the girls. One came from St. Louis, another from Delaware, and another one from Alabama, because I knew those girls' parents. This year, we have girls coming from Montgomery, Alabama, and Harrisburg High School specifically. And they were chosen through the Explore program was very instrumental in helping us at Harrisburg High School identify some girls and getting the announcements out and letting them know about the application process. And then the girls that filled out the application were accepted, but then there's a certain amount of our training and our curriculum that you have to attend and prepare so that the board is comfortable, the parents are comfortable, and the student is comfortable. And so we actually had about 10 girls in the program, but like I said, we only have 5 that are actually traveling. But like we always tell them, once a Jelani girl, always a Jelani girl. So these girls still have the opportunity to travel with us next year. But there's a certain amount of preparation that needs to take place before they're ready to go. So there's the application, a quick interview, a parent consultation, and then the trainings.
Now, the girls that are coming from out of state, you knew their parents, or how did you get to them? Through the internet, website? What did you do to attract those girls?
I have a strong personal family connection. My mother and grandparents are down there.
Okay.
They play a huge role in the community and the church, and so they were able to reach out to girls. But I also go down there and speak to any satellite location that we have. We use online tools to facilitate our trainings and our meetings.
All right.
And it's a more condensed program for those girls. And so there has to be a lot more community and parent involvement in girls that are coming from satellite locations, as opposed to here. I'm able to be a lot more hands-on with them. Some of the girls I've even had to pick up them and their parents and take them to the office that get them their passport applications or their vaccinations. Whereas at the satellite locations, there's a higher demand of more personal responsibility where they can get involved and really facilitate being prepared for that trip. But then we have the online tools, and we have board members in each location where girls are coming from. Yes.
And do you personally accompany the girls on the trip?
I do, from start to finish, walking them through, like I said, all the prep work for the travel. When we get there, we have a board member traveling with them from each location. So the girls from this location will be myself and another board member, as well as our videographer who'll be filming us, a documentary on us. And then from the Alabama location, we'll have actually a couple of board members. Because not only is this exciting for girls, but the parents and adults are wanting to get involved because they haven't been exposed to travel themselves.
Absolutely, that's what I'm thinking.
So I've been getting a lot of, well, I want to come too, and by all means you can, but let's find a girl to come with us as well.
Sure.
So, absolutely.
That's good stuff.
Amazing.
You know, the world is a big place, and there are a lot of things happening, and you know that more than probably most in terms of relations. You know, the United States is seen a certain way at certain places, when, you know, while we're revered and feared, but there's also sometimes resentment, you know, as you travel. You ever find that, you know, being an American and people sort of, you know, they have these ideas or whatever of who you are?
That's a good question. So when I was traveling alone, as far as being situationally aware, one of the things you learn about travel is that you don't pull out your passport. You don't let everyone know that you're American. It's just not to your benefit, I believe, especially if you're traveling alone. So, and in some cases, being a woman and traveling by myself, to be honest, if certain person would ask me where I'm from, there have been times where I've said Canada just because I don't want them to know, even though it's technically a lie and I don't encourage lying. At that point, I felt like it was more important to just not say America. And but because of that, I hadn't run into any issues. And I think a lot of times, a lot of part of the Eastern world or other countries, they kind of just stereotypically and generally, they view America as white. They don't realize, I think, that there are so many black people. So and especially, they don't see them traveling as much and doing as much philanthropic effort and things like that. So when they do see me, they're not even actually thinking to ask me if I'm American. And because I was able to speak Spanish or just blend in and know when not to speak, because a lot of times I might look like I'm from many of the countries I'm visiting, whether it's in Asia, in Europe, or Latin America, until I open my mouth and they're like, oh, she's American. So for the most part, I didn't really run into any issues because I knew when not to speak too much, and if they asked the question, I might say I'm from Canada, just to avoid any issues.
Avoid them,
avoid that altogether.
Because sometimes they're attacked, and
but for the most part, people love Americans, and they're excited, and
But they always think we're all rich.
Right, and that's when you can run into issue because you don't want to be targeted for maybe a quick robbery to try to grab something because they think you have money. So for that reason, is the only reason why I might say I'm from somewhere else. So I just wouldn't speak to a stranger.
No question. They think, you know, money.
And I'm like, I'm not rich, which is what I blog about. They say, well, you've been to so many countries, you must have so much money. And I've traveled in so many different ways that I barely spend a dime. Like the highest expense I would have would be the plane ticket. And I'm very good at finding cheap plane tickets.
All right, I got to talk to you.
Yeah, I found a one-way plane ticket for $100 to Colombia in South America.
You kidding me?
Unbelievable, right? So, I mean, those options are out there. You can see the rest of the world if you want to.
Man, that's fantastic. And so these young girls have never had an opportunity to travel outside of the country, most of them.
Or their state, most of them.
Okay.
Some of them, this will be their first time getting on an airplane.
Isn't that something? Now, how do you prepare them for that? Because not everybody's into flying.
That's part of our curriculum and our preparation. They're excited. They're calm. They were nervous at first. They had all these questions, but that's when we have the consultation with the parents. Everybody that is traveling is comfortable. And the ones that are not traveling because they weren't comfortable yet, they're still in the program and excited about the program and will be comfortable next year, I'm sure. So there's just different mechanisms that we use, just kind of having that. We have what we call girl time and girl talk, and we just talk. So what's worrying you? What's bothering you? What's going on with you? Because it's also, you know, mentorship based. We're not just preparing you for a trip. We're trying to prepare you for your future and what that means. So we even do. We're even planning a small college tour where when we go visit the colleges, we also go to the study abroad department so we can connect that our mission with, you know, higher education. So it's about being a well-rounded young person and personal transformation. So we talk about everything, and one of the things that have come up, and maybe their fear of flying, but they're not fearful anymore. They're really excited. We've shown them videos. I have to go to Trinidad to coordinate with the ministries, which is their government there. So I would show them pictures and videos, and they see how excited the people are that they're coming. The U.S. Embassy is excited that we're coming, so they're in turn excited, and I think those fears have kind of subsided.
I noticed you mentioned that Kenya was one of your favorite places, especially in Africa. But Kenya also had a lot of unrest lately. So, you know, how do you kind of, you know, deal with that when you go? I mean, I know that there are places that are hot spots and not hot spots. So, how do you generally, you know, navigate that?
Well, with Kenya, when I went, it was in May of 2000, I believe 12, yes. And there weren't really any issues, but actually the day that I landed, there apparently was some issues from what was alleged to be certain people from Somalia who threw grenades into a mall area the day I landed. So I was a little concerned then, but after that there hadn't been any issues until recently. And so I built so many connections, like almost familial connections. I got my first Kenyan name and met President Barack Obama's step-grandmother and all these different things that I just have all these great memories and friendships. So when I hear about the things in the news that are happening, I'm just calling automatically to my friends and saying, is everything okay? Is everybody okay? But for the most part, I think things aren't as bad in any part of that continent as sometimes it seems. Sometimes the camera can maybe sometimes sensationalize and kind of draw into that area, which might be the industry and the business, and that's fine, but that doesn't represent the entire continent or the state. And so because I have those relationships, I know of one of my friends who got married there. And another friend, her cousin, is getting married in December, so their families, babies are being born. I mean, they're living their lives and they're excited and they're happy people. So overall, I think there's not really that much unrest, but the issues that they do have, when there is heightened security issues, then we just wouldn't travel there. You have to do what's best for you ultimately. But I also like to point out that a lot of times what we see on TV, we think represents all day and all the time and everywhere, and that's not the case.
That's not the case at all.
Absolutely.
In the same way with America. People see some violence and they think,
absolutely.
you know, absolutely, sure.
Absolutely.
They could run over with that. The five young ladies that, you know, were able to go on your first trip, what were some of those experiences they brought back to their communities and areas? Did they continue their volunteer work and service? And
absolutely. Well, the three girls that we took to Ghana, they were so excited. When we do a post-evaluation assessment and ask them how they were feeling and what they've learned, and one of the key things that was common between the girls as their favorite experience, and they saw all types of different things. We went all over the the coast of Ghana. Their favorite thing was our International Youth Service Project, where we gave over 400 toys to kids in different schools and villages, and seeing the smiles on their face. That's what you kept seeing on the papers that were coming in and interviews that we did. And so they really had a good time. Besides that, they got to walk across the rainforest in Kakun National Park through the canopy bridges. That was really exciting for them. They were able to see the what's known as the slave castles, which where the slaves were kept in dungeons underneath the castles in the churches. And so they were able to see that and just learn about the history. So I think those were some of the highlights of their trip in Ghana. And we have a lot of special surprises for them in Trinidad.
Have you met Dr. Alfreda Johnson?
I have not. That name sounds kind of familiar.
Yeah, she's a former counselor and teacher in the Harrisburg School District, counselor at Harrisburg Area Community College, but just a fantastic person. And she happens to go back and forth. She takes trips to Ghana all the time.
Okay.
So a number of people from the Harrisburg area.
Now I know where I heard that name from.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah.
I
So
have.
you definitely want to meet her. She's a great person, and also she'd be excited about what you're doing. Excited, yeah, you know. Yes,
Awesome.
indeed. She was one of my
Definitely.
mentors growing up. So anyhow, but boy, this is just so, I mean, this is unbelievable. And the
it's
fact
just
that you're here in
fascinating.
Harrisburg, I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, Harrisburg is a great city.
It
Yeah.
really
How long have you
truly
been
is.
here?
About as long as Jelani Girl has been here. So
Okay.
about a little over a year.
A little over a year.
A little over a year. As soon as I came back to the U.S., I came to Harrisburg and hit the ground running with establishing Jelani Girls.
Okay. What made you come to Harrisburg?
Well, my college sweetheart, another Hampton alumni.
Oh, okay. All right.
David Barkley, he's also on the
Oh,
board.
David Barkley.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
He's on the board with you. Well, that's
Yes, he is.
awesome.
And he's been
Okay.
very instrumental in helping us.
Okay.
So you're thinking that Harrisburg may be a place where you're going to reside for a while? Because I know you like to travel, but you do
I do
things.
love to travel, but home is where the heart is,
Okay.
and my heart is here.
That's
Okay.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I'm glad you're going to be around because we certainly need your kind
Definitely.
of talent and spirit in
Thank
this area.
you.
Yes,
Thank
indeed.
you.
Exciting.
Wow.
And only 27 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and to think people live all their lives and just don't have that excitement and what do you call it, adventurousness,
Drive, yeah.
and being adventurous and being able to move out and just make this happen, not just for yourself, but for other young women. So we applaud you.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
So how can we really, as a community, though, better assist you in developing? Because this needs to be developed.
Yes, it
Jelani
does.
Girls, because this is just fantastic. So what
Thank
else
you.
can we do from the church community, from the nonprofit sectors, the for-profit sectors? What can we do?
Yeah. Well, I think that the community, the biggest issue with Jelani Girls is that we're so new, but so needed. So because getting the word out there. So
Okay.
doing a show like this, I just can't tell you how much I appreciate it and what it can possibly do for us. And because we have, we're able to facilitate satellite locations, getting the word out to anybody that we know. If one person could just tell somebody.
Well, let's do this because I know we haven't done it yet. Give us your contact information because
Okay.
I know someone out there is excited. They want to know how to get in touch with you.
Yes. So our website, you can contact us and contact me at any point at www.jelanigirls.org, and that's JELANIGIRLS.org.
Okay,
And from
fantastic.
there, you can get my phone contact information. Our office is in Strawberry Square at Temple University. So yeah, we can be contacted anyway. Our email is info@JelaniGirlsInc.org.
Okay,
And
fantastic.
there on the page you can donate, in-kind donations, services, as well as financial contributions.
Fantastic. Well, we run out of time, and I wish we hadn't, but you were so great.
Yes.
I want to thank Ashley Company, Captain Ashley Company, for coming on and talking about this wonderful
Yes.
organization. We know that you're going to support Jelani Girls. It's something that is needed around the country, if not around the world, and it's here in Harrisburg. Aren't we blessed? So, whatever we do, let's do the best we can do for our girls, for the people that we meet within this experience, and support this young lady here, Captain Ashley Company. And hope that you have yourself a blessed day. Just do something great. And we'll see you next time on Life Esteem. Goodbye.